On February 17, 2015, at precisely 3:14 p.m. UTC, a routine data sync occurred between the Landsat 8 satellite and a public-facing NASA server. Among the terabytes of raw geographical data was a single image file, a silent witness orbiting 438 miles above the Earth. For the next 7 hours and 12 minutes, it was available to the public, a ghost in the machine waiting for its one and only audience. Then, with a silence more deafening than any explosion, it was systematically erased from every server, every backup log, every digital corner of the internet. The official reason was listed as a data integrity anomaly, a bland, bureaucratic phrase designed to kill curiosity. But the handful of people who saw it in that brief window knew the terrifying truth. They had looked into the void, and the void had looked back. What NASA deleted that day wasn't just an image, it was a warning. This is the story of the black square in the Taklamakan, and the day we learned that some doors, once opened, can never be closed. To truly grasp the gravity of this event, you must first understand the man who turned the key. His name has been dissolved from the digital record, so we will call him David. David was not a hacker or a spy. He was a data archaeologist, a cartographer of the invisible. His life's work, his obsession, was building intricate algorithms to sift through the endless, monotonous noise of public satellite data. He was searching for the ghosts of human civilization, the faint geometric echoes of lost cities, ancient trade routes submerged by sand, and geological formations that whispered secrets of a forgotten past. He worked from a small, book-cluttered apartment, his world defined by the cool blue glow of 3 monitors and the constant, gentle hum of processing power. He was a digital-age gold prospector, spending years panning through digital rivers. And on that cold, silent February evening, his screen flashed with a nugget of pure, terrifying, and inexplicable gold. His search was focused on the Taklamakan Desert in western China, a vast, arid basin whose name translates poetically and ominously to the place of ruins. It is a sea of shifting sand dunes, larger than many European countries, a place so hostile and empty that it feels less like a part of our world and more like a landscape from a dead planet. His script was meticulously calibrated to flag one thing, and one thing only: perfect geometric shapes. The unmistakable signature of intelligence, a stark contrast to the beautiful chaos of nature. For weeks, the results had been a monotonous cascade of sand and rock and shadow. But on this night, a single result flashed with an urgent, crimson border. The confidence interval was a staggering, almost unbelievable 99.8%. David, sipping his long cold coffee, leaned forward, his professional curiosity piqued. He clicked the link. The high-resolution image rendered on his screen, and in that single, breathless moment, his understanding of reality shattered. There, nestled between the soft, wind-sculpted waves of sand dunes, was a shape that defied every law of physics, engineering, and common sense. A perfect square measuring 2 kilometers on each side, of the deepest, most absolute black imaginable. This was not the black of a shadow, which has texture, gradient, and context. This was the black of a void, a perfect and utter absence. It was as if a god had taken a hole punch and cleanly removed a section of the universe, leaving behind a stark, 2-dimensional nothingness. Its edges were razor straight, impossibly precise against the organic flowing curves of the desert. It was an affront to reality, a visual scream in a silent world. David's breath caught in his throat. He found himself leaning closer, his cursor hovering over the void. For a dizzying moment, he thought he saw movement within the blackness, a subtle, fluid shimmer, as if the darkness itself were breathing. His scientific training kicked in, a desperate, automatic attempt to anchor himself in the rational. His first hypothesis was a sensor malfunction, a catastrophic failure known as a dead pixel cluster. But he knew the Landsat 8 satellite used a sophisticated, redundant sensor system. A failure would be messy, streaked, and inconsistent. This was clean. This was perfect. He needed a control, a second opinion from an independent source. With fingers that had begun to tremble, he cross-referenced the precise coordinates with data from the European Space Agency's Sentinel-2 satellite, which had passed over the same patch of desert just 2 hours later. He watched, his heart hammering a frantic rhythm against his ribs as the new image loaded onto his screen. There it was. The same perfect black square, the same void, the same absolute nothingness. The control had confirmed the impossible. This was no glitch, no artifact of faulty machinery. It was a physical object, or perhaps a physical non-object, that was genuinely, tangibly present on the surface of our planet. A chill so cold it felt like a physical blade traced its way down his spine. He was no longer looking at data. He was looking at a mystery that threatened to rewrite every textbook ever written. Driven by a potent cocktail of scientific exhilaration and primal fear, David did what any rigorous researcher would do. He sought peer review from the most qualified and paranoid minds he knew. He logged into The Vault, a heavily encrypted, invitation-only forum that served as a digital watering hole for the world's leading satellite imagery analysts, data scientists, and physicists. It was a place where brilliance and paranoia were necessary survival traits. He created a new thread, its title deliberately clinical to mask the storm of emotion inside him. Anomaly in the Taklamakan, 99.8% artificial confidence. Independent verification requested. He posted the coordinates and the raw, unaltered image file. The response was not just quick, it was global and electric. Within minutes, a geologist from Oslo confirmed the underlying bedrock was a fragile sedimentary basin, completely incapable of supporting a surface structure of such monumental scale. A materials physicist from MIT ran a spectral analysis and reported back with a finding that sent a fresh wave of shock through the forum. The square was absorbing 100% of all incoming electromagnetic radiation. It was a perfect black body, a theoretical construct made terrifyingly real. It wasn't just dark. It was, for all scientific purposes, a perfect nothingness. Then, a user from Germany, a former NASA contractor, noticed an anomaly within the anomaly. The file size was wrong. It was far smaller than it should have been, as if the satellite's sensors had recorded nothing at all when pointed at the square. The black square wasn't an object being observed. It was a null value in the dataset. As David read this, his primary monitor flickered. Not a power glitch, but a subtle digital cough. The silence in his room suddenly felt heavy, thick, and watchful. This was the moment the mystery transformed into a cover-up. When the German user attempted to download the original file directly from the NASA server for a deeper forensic analysis, his connection was instantly and brutally severed. His machine froze, then crashed. Upon rebooting, the direct link returned a chilling and highly specific error code he had only ever seen in textbooks. HTTP 451, unavailable for legal reasons. The file was gone. Not just from the main server, but from the entire public-facing data ecosystem. It had been digitally disappeared, as if it had never been. But the internet, in its chaotic wisdom, never truly forgets. The users of the Vault, a paranoid and prudent bunch, had already saved local copies of the image. But now, a new, more aggressive phase of the purge began. One by one, users began reporting that their locally saved copies were becoming corrupted. Files would not open, or would display only as digital static. A cybersecurity expert on the forum managed to analyze a corrupted file before it was completely lost. His finding was terrifying. The file had been actively overwritten with random data by a sophisticated military-grade wiper algorithm. This was not a simple cleanup. This was a targeted active sterilization. It was a digital scorched earth campaign, and they were all standing in the field. As the shell-shocked community compared notes, a horrifying pattern emerged from the ashes. This was not an isolated incident. By digging through a decade of archived posts, they uncovered two previous, nearly identical events. In 2008, a perfect black circle had appeared in the Amazon rainforest for 9 hours. In 2019, a perfect black triangle was seen in the Siberian tundra for 6. The methodology was a perfect repeating pattern, a brief window of visibility, discovery, and then a swift, total, and silent digital purge. There were never any official statements, no scientific papers debunking the claims. Just silence. A silence that was louder than any explosion, screaming that this was a secret someone was willing to kill for. So what are we to make of the black square? The theories that have emerged are as vast and unsettling as the desert itself. The first theory is a military secret. A black scar on the desert, hiding something that hums with a sinister energy deep beneath the sand. A facility so advanced, its very existence is the most closely guarded secret on Earth. Its perfect blackness, a new form of stealth technology on an unimaginable scale. But that theory feels too small, too human, for the profound silence that followed. It doesn't explain the other shapes, or the chilling feeling that this object was not built by human hands, but placed there. This leads to the second, more profound theory. The object is not of human origin. The geometry is too perfect, too timeless, a square, a circle, a triangle. These are the fundamental building blocks of the universe, a signature etched into the dust of our world. This theory suggests we are not looking at a building, but a marker, a beacon left by a non-human intelligence for purposes that are utterly beyond our comprehension. Its perfect blackness isn't just stealth. It is a veil meant to remain invisible until we, as a species, are ready to see it. Or perhaps it is a seal, meant to keep us out of something we were never meant to find. In the weeks that followed, the human cost became tragically clear. David posted one final desperate message to the vault. They are scrubbing everything. They know who we are. They've made contact. I'm going dark. Good luck. The next day, his account was deleted. All attempts to reach him via his known email addresses and professional contacts evaporated into silence. He vanished as completely and utterly as the image he had discovered. He became a ghost, a casualty of a silent war over truth. Other prominent members of the forum reported receiving visits from official-sounding individuals who strongly advised them to cease their inquiries. The vault itself, fearing total compromise, went into permanent high-security lockdown, its vast archives sealed away from the world. We are left now only with the echoes. The echo of a file that once existed on a public server. The echo of a brilliant man who dared to look into the void and asked a single dangerous question. When the next satellite sweep passed over the coordinates, the black square was gone. But so was something else. The official metadata for that region now lists a single chilling phrase under terrain description: null entry. The official walled silence is the loudest and most damning piece of evidence of all. It tells us that this is not a mystery meant to be solved, but a secret to be kept at all costs. This was the satellite image that was deemed too dangerous to exist. What do you believe it revealed? A hidden war raging in the shadows? Or a message from the void, waiting centuries for someone to finally read it? If you ever find a perfect black square in the desert, don't click it. Subscribe to Midnight Glitch and ring the bell. The truth is a shadow, and we are just beginning to see its shape.